Have you ever wanted to play a colony simulator version of The Walking Dead? Is Infection Free Zone the zombie colony simulator you've been looking for? Watch on and find out. My name is Thoraxe, and this is Strategy for Busy People. If you've got a few minutes, I'll tell you what to play. I've played quite a few colony simulators on Strategy for Busy People, and this week we're looking at another one, Infection Free Zone by Jutsu Games. I've got about 7 hours in this title. I hadn't actually ever seen The Walking Dead until recently when I started watching it, and I got a lot more into it than I thought I would. There are constant questions about civilization and being civilized and what it means when society has fallen apart. So, a game that deals with similar concepts but has you running a settlement in a post-apocalyptic zombie-infested world? It was worth a shot. The primary gimmick of Infection Free Zone is that it uses real maps and satellite data to dynamically generate a map for you based on an area you select. Since The Walking Dead took place in the Atlanta area, I figured I'd give North Atlanta's suburbs a shot, as that's kind of where the series started. Oh, for you hardcore nerds, I am explicitly talking about the original TV series and not the graphic novels on which they were based. Anyway, you come out of your bunker with a few folks and try to start picking up the pieces. You can scavenge houses and create squads to go out and try to get supplies. You can repurpose nearby buildings into other things. Essentially, you are trying to recreate society after everything is gone. And that also includes having to learn how to do many common things again. The tech tree in this game takes the form of research that you have to do, but it's not enough just to have a research building. You have to go out and scavenge books to be able to do that research, and each technology has a book cost associated with it. As you can see on the maps, some specific icons, like the book icon, have known locations. It's unclear whether there are always sufficient book resources on a map to research the entire technology tree, but I'm also unsure if at some point you can eventually produce books on your own, like you can eventually produce fuel. Speaking of fuel, it's another critical resource, as you will inevitably discover vehicles that offer dramatic improvements to your quality of life. A squad can attach itself to a vehicle and drive around doing its scavenging, and the vehicle has a much larger cargo capacity than the essentially one item per person of a 4-person squad. Vehicles also offer some protection from the hordes and can be used as weapons against them. Weapons can be manufactured once the appropriate technologies are researched or scavenged, as can protective armor for your people. Bullets, at least in the early game, seemed to be in sufficient supply that I didn't have to worry all too much about them. But a squad can only carry so many bullets, and extended combat will cause it to run out of bullets, so keeping an eye on your squads as they are out and about is very important. The little police-looking icons on the map are indications of weapons caches, and I did find a bunch of really sweet gear in those places. When night falls, the hordes will inevitably attack, and defending your settlement is pretty important. Interestingly, while I did eventually enclose my settlement in walls, I found them extremely flimsy in preventing horde attacks. Additionally, since your squads can't walk through walls, they had to go through your gates and go around to reach the hordes. Long before a squad got to a horde, it was almost sure to have torn through the walls and gotten onto the campus. In retrospect, I think that building empty gates, which hold more guards than watchtowers, and leaving no walls would have been more effective at defending the compound, at least from the hordes. That's right, I say at least because you also have to contend with not-so-nice raiding parties that might come to your base or that you might encounter while you are out and about looking for things. Inviting new settlers to join your zone is important to be able to sustain yourself and to provide the type of facilities that improve morale, but doing so over the radio potentially alerts people you don't want to show up to your location. With respect to sustaining yourself, you do inevitably unlock the technology to grow and prepare foods, which also provides a morale bonus to your settlement, and that morale bonus can improve productivity. Fundamentally, you are trying to survive long enough to discover how to be self-sufficient without scavenging supplies, but you will pretty much always need to scavenge nearby areas for building materials like wood, bricks, and metals. Combat is simple enough in the sense that when your squads get near hostiles, they will engage them automatically, and there are some options about how eager they are to do so. Squad members can be injured and definitely can die, but they can have health restored over time at medical facilities that you can build after unlocking that tech too. Before I give my final verdict, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to share it with your friends. Agree with me, disagree with me, or want to see other content? Let me know in the comments below. Want to try this game yourself? Check out my humble affiliate link below. And if you want to support me in making more of these videos, become a patron on Patreon. Your support really makes a difference. The final verdict. This is a pretty solid game despite some minor frustrations with the user interface not wanting to select the things I wanted it to select. I also often would end up with a squad setting out on foot because for whatever reason they were no longer attached to their vehicle. There is a little bit of micromanagement in keeping vehicles appropriately repaired, but building repair can be mostly automated. And worker management is not the most fun, but it's also not too terrible either. The developer is also actively working to enhance the game, and there is a whole experimental beta game release that adds traveling merchants, ground elevation, and many other bells and whistles to the experience that I was unable to try. On my trademarked 3-point score scale of avoid, meh, and I forgot to eat, I'm not sure how many brains got consumed in the making of this video, but quite a lot of canned food and miscellaneous wheat-bait rations were. Overall, this game was entertaining, and the ability to see how easy or not it might be to survive a zombie apocalypse in your own backyard is pretty fun. That being said, you probably want to choose slightly denser populated areas for your starting map if you live way out in the country, because the structure count is pretty important to your survival.